You're welcome to the last spot where David Livingstone ended his journey. He arrived in Chitambo in the 3rd district. At that time, he was in the last journey, which was the search for the River Nile. Unfortunately, his medical kit was once stolen and his health deteriorated. He came to Zambia. He landed here at Chitambo village on 29th April 1873. It was here because the time when he came, he couldn't walk, he couldn't do anything, he was weak, and so they had to make a traditional carrier, which is called the kitanda or impasse or something like that. Then he was put there, carried by the local people or the African companions to come to this area. And from the Bangweulu swamps at the harbor, when they came to this area, they had to construct a temporary hut for him to rest in. Eventually, they built this shelter, and Your Excellence, what you are seeing here is the exact spot where David Livingstone died. So when he came to this shelter, he couldn't talk and he was weak. On the 30th of April, 1873, Chief Chitambo paid a courtesy call to David Livingstone right here in this village where we are standing. So when he came here, he came with his African companions, Susi and Chuma. These were devoted servants to David Livingstone. One was coming from Malawi, Oziawu. The other one was coming from Shupanga, from Mozambique. The other African companions, like Majuara, this was also one of the slave person who was freed from the slave caravan by Dr. David Livingstone. So this man was the one who was next to David Livingstone, like at the bedside. And when Livingstone was kneeling, he was praying. And I have to mention, Your Excellency, that it is right at this spot where the declaration of Zambia as a Christian nation was made and pronounced. Later on, the second Republican president declared Zambia as a Christian nation. Allow me to recite a prayer that was done by David Livingstone, because he prayed for a long time, and the time when he was praying, one of the African companions, the one he freed from the slave caravan, heard the prayer. And it was Majuara who heard the prayer, and he listened. He was one of the natives who understood a bit of English. And the time when Livingstone was praying, because the prayer took so long, he got a paper and started writing that prayer. And allow me to recite the prayer which Livingstone recited on his kneeling bed. He said, Lord, on this land where I rest my bended knees, let it become a mighty Christian nation, a beacon of hope to the African continent, and a light to the rest of the world. The time when Livingstone was reciting this prayer, Majuara got frightened. He said, why such a prayer? And he went to tell his friends to say, the doctor, he is praying, the missionary is praying, and the prayer is such a touching prayer, such that he has declared this nation where he has bended his knees to say, let it be a Christian nation. So he prayed and prayed, and when he came back, he found David Livingstone dead. He died here, and when the friends were there, Your Excellency, they put a spot which we call the beacon. The metal bar down here is the exact spot where Livingstone was lying. He prayed with the Bible with him. He had a candle that he was using for praying. What you're seeing there is a cup, the metal cup which he was using. And the spears that you are seeing, the other things which are the folded tents, are the things that Livingstone was moving around with. So when he died, Majuara, who was on the bedside, again ran to the friends to say, I think the missionary is not breathing. The friends came inside and they checked, and Susi and Chuma, they are the ones that confirmed the death of David Livingstone.